Oh my goodness. All right, we're out here at Poker Flat Research Range.
We should rotate.
We're going to turn around.
Okay.
I got them wired up there. Oh, look, the sun's even better on that side.
Oh,
so this is the Neil Davis Science Operations Center at Poker Flat Research Range because I read the sign. What goes on inside?
Science operations.
Yeah,
Ooh!
science, yeah.
This is the center of that.
This is the building where all the scientists sit during the rocket launches, and we'll go up to the control room in a minute, and that's really where all the stress and action is. They are the ones who say go.
Yep.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So this building is primarily used for the rocket launches. We also have hosts of autonomous space weather instrumentation on the roof here. The top level of this building, as we'll probably show you shortly, contains a lot of instrumentation. During the rocket launches, this is everything. It's a waiting room for people that are not making the decisions of whether to press or not press the button. It's a collection site for all of the space weather that we're going to use to determine whether or not we're going to push that button, which is a $1 million irreversible decision.
We also have an Aurora viewing room up there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And we've also even got Arctic gear for some of our visitors that maybe aren't. We get an international audience here from multiple countries when we do rocket launches.
We also do tours out here, and they usually put the jackets on to go on the roof.
So we got a little of everything.
So there's a lot going on inside there. And we're about 40 miles away from Fairbanks, 35 miles away from Fairbanks?
Yeah, probably 35.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little cruise out here. Nice driving.
I drive a little slow, sorry.
Oh, no, it was great. It was a great time. All right, let's go inside.
Yep.
Let's see what's going
Carefully.
on in here.
It's through the same door. Yeah.
So you've got...
Yeah, because we're...
And then I can hold
Yeah.
it. This is a new lesson in sort of team building exercise. All right. You have a key.
I do have a key.
Yep.
That's nice. All right. Not everybody has
Oh, you can throw that. Hold on.
Oh, the chop. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
There we go.
I come here too often. Lights are right there. There we go.
All right.
So this has recently been remodeled here, but the first thing you'll notice when you walk into this building, or at least for me, is this room over here. This it has a fancy name, but what it is in practice is the place where you sit while the professionals on the floor above us make decisions.
The place where you sit. It's the Auroral Data Display and Conference Room.
Yeah, this is.
There used to be a giant table here and some TVs, and we're in the process of remodeling.
So in previous years, the physics graduate student association has come here for launches, and this is where the graduate students would sit while we were waiting for a launch to really pick up. At about T-minus 10 minutes, everyone will go outside, or T-minus 3 minutes maybe for some, and we'll go watch the rocket launch. But up until that point, which may be a week or two of waiting, people will sit in here, they'll congregate in here usually. The students, people that are non-essential crew.
Look out the window.
Yeah, as you can see, there's a pretty good view out here.
My favorite chair.
Is it
Actually, it's really nice.
So that's the view you get. You can imagine if it was nighttime.
With Aurora.
Yeah, the Aurora would be off in the distance over there. Yep, over in that direction. You could imagine it doing this.
Aurora. Can you make your fingers purple? Because that's the prettiest kind of Aurora. And then that's where where you can see the rockets launch from over there.
So,
that way.
the rockets will be straight out.
We'll go up on the roof.
We'll get a better view of that. Yeah.
This is just sort of the chilling out room.
Yeah. So this, if you're a graduate student, you're going to bring your homework. You're going to bring your research work that you can do on your computer.
But then you're not going to do it because you're going to watch all the operations go.
Yeah. You're never going to get any of that done. Yeah.
But is there pressure in here? Is it tense as the countdown goes on?
No, not really.
These are just people who are hanging out watching a rocket launch.
Yeah, but
we don't have to make any decisions, so it's not stressful.
We can go show you the tense room.
Yes,
though.
I would.
So we also have our kitchen room, which
pizza factory.
Yeah.
Pizza factory.
Yeah. We could.
No pizza in there now.
No, well, there might be actually. I think I might have left one in there.
So do you sort of cater for yourself? There's no cook that it can't cook.
Yeah, it's just a standard kitchen
open for everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, if you've been here for 7-8 days, you might actually just sit in here and kind of hang out and talk with people, have a cup of tea or something like that.
Usually, when there's nights when it's obvious the rocket's not going to launch because it's cloudy or conditions aren't right, you'll see a lot of people just hanging out in here, talking.
Doing their stuff.
So.
Well, sometimes we had an argument once about that sun that sun drawing's been there for years. It's like
It's caused a lot of problems.
We were trying to figure out whether we could make a pair of shades with the moon that would cover the sun.
Well, we won't get into that. We'll leave that for future.
It was a long discussion.
Sometimes you get into some, esoteric stuff.
Yeah.
Down there we have a few offices.
There's a few offices
John
behind
Hampton's
us. But,
down there. And
one viewer says we were the Pandora Borealis.
Yeah.
Aurora hands. All right. So once you're going past here, now you've got to have something to do. This isn't just.
This is more of the intense.
So the first floor, you might see pretty much anybody that's going to come out here on. You're not going to want to come to the second floor unless you're doing science when it's a rocket launch.
So this is our visual observing room.
The VOR.
Yep.
Here's our
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
tourist jackets. Nice and big and puffy.
There's some couple boots on down there as well. Scarves.
So like if my mom wanted to knit a couple of scarves, she could donate donate them. Oh, look, is that like a sextant?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. So this is our. You can see we have dome ceilings for Aurora. Not very clear ones right now.
Yeah.
Luke Coffin says he's glad the pineapple was still on the board.
Yeah. He was a part of that debate, I think.
So this is a bit higher level to watch the same sort of view that you can downstairs. And again, over there is where the Pandora would go.
Yeah. I could hold my breath until my face turns purple and then run around. Okay.
Save that for the South Pole.
Yeah. This is that's where you want to watch the aurora from, ideally, if you get the chance.
So you can see these are our launch team rooms. We can go around and in.
Oh, yeah.
So we have launch team room 1 and 2. So if there's multiple missions going on, they can pull down a wall in between the two rooms. There's a light switch over there next to that door. Can you go?
Yep.
Oh, I guess we're connected.
We're all going.
We're all in it together here.
Push the button.
Well, this is going to be fun. Nice reveal. Dun, dun, dun.
So this is just one of the rooms, and then you can see there we have this dividable wall.
So, and this is still in the obviously still in the process of being renovated.
Right.
This was 2 separate rooms. Previous years, if anyone has watched our the live video feeds that go on, this is the room they happen in.
Oh, I see.
Right here.
It's right in here.
And then the announcer will be in this room over here. The person that's discussing the live video feed. When the science missions are going on, usually there's maybe half dozen or more people in this room. Previously, there was I think 9 monitors over here, and those monitors are going to have different space weather going on. We'll have a highlighted set of space weather data here, and the scientists will be going back and forth and including going up this ladder and looking up in the sky and seeing what's going on.
So that's the best check, is to go out and...
One of the funniest things, I think, was when Christina Lynch's second rocket launched. They were really concerned about there were bobs that were supposed to be released, and everyone was just sitting around waiting after the rocket launched, and all of a sudden Don Hampton was up there, up in that little corner up there, and all you just hear, "I say Bobs!" And it just came down from the ceiling, and everyone was just like cheering. It was crazy.
So it was like a Mars landing moment.
Oh yeah,
just for the sounding
rocket.
A viewer says, "How do you know if you belong upstairs?"
Oh, that's a good question.
If you aren't sure, don't go upstairs.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just walk up with the confidence and some swagger, like, "I belong upstairs."
No. You don't want to get in the way.
So you know if you know.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you don't belong.
It'll be unambiguous, and it's the people that are the most advanced in the field that is being studied is what it is. If you're the top 1 guy or the top 2 guy, you're probably in this room. If you're the 4th or 5th, you're probably not.
How do you get the job of the announcer? Like, do you have to have a very calm?
So I think it's
voice,
just Don most of the time, if I remember right.
Don did it sometimes, but he was really involved with the Lynch launch, so someone else did it then.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember who it does.
I think that's the job
Kevin, actually.
I don't know.
T minus 20. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
So we can continue on through here. This is some of the.
Should we turn the lights off?
We could. Right. Okay.
We are 1 unit here, viewers, all connected through the magic of technology.
I'll get this one.
Teamwork.
That I will not trip over. Okay. Well, that's fun to sort of see, like, because if you watch on YouTube, that's streaming during the launch, you just see their faces and all that sort of stuff. So it's nice to get a bit of context for
Yeah.
the place that they are. And it's really small together. Like the teams have to really work closely. You can't really get far away from each other.
Yeah, and it's not just for one day. That's important. They're doing this for weeks, every night, even if they know they're going to launch or not. We could probably just briefly go over this.
Well,
and
we
then...
can just walk through and go out that door too. It's
Ooh.
light.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to slide that up, I think, too.
Ooh.
So this is our West Dome room. Everything up there is lots of domes. We'll come back to this.
So you can see that these rooms have been made dark. There's some type of protection to keep, even when the lights are off, the stray light from around the room off. That's because there's very sensitive equipment looking up to the sky in each of those locations.
And we'll go to the roof and see that right now.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Also,
leave that.
Okay. This is going to be fun. Do we have to go up a ladder together?
Yeah.
we will. Yes.
We'll be fine.
I didn't think that one through.
No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's about, what, 20, 15 degrees today?
I think it's 15.
Yeah, probably 15-ish.
Yeah, not too bad.
So that way is where the rockets launch. And that little thing there, the antennas, always gets in our photos.
Pesky.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
So most photos, if anyone listening to this has seen rocket launch photos, almost all the rocket launch photos they've seen were taken on this deck right here.
Yep.
This is the spot looking right over there. If you see those buildings down there, that's where the rockets are launched from.
And we don't go to the roof because the instruments during the rocket launch are taking data. So
Yeah, so we don't want to disturb
we
the
don't touch the
instruments.
roof.
This is the place. If you have the fortunate ability to be here during a rocket launch, this is where you're probably going to be when the rocket launches. And you're going to be looking this direction. You're going to watch the rocket just come straight up into the sky. The aurora is probably going to be just a little bit off that direction. Mm-hmm. And that's how that's done.
Spot.
Yep.
Definitely got the views up here, though.
Sure do.
Yeah, but we can improve on that a little.
And go up more. I think I might unclip
Yeah, we will.
Oh,
and pass.
okay.
We're going up a ladder.
We'll reattach. In
All
a
right,
second
that
here.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Hello, we got these microphones that
And,
way.
see that we're
Authorized
Authorized, yeah.
personnel only. I feel. Oh, I see. We have to actually do the.
We have to go up that.
Are you? You got that?
I can do this. All right, great.
We can
Reattach.
Yeah.
re-lapel here. Yeah.
Oh my! I've seen pictures of these things.
Yep. So you guys are getting a very special view. Not many people get to come up here.
Oh, crap.
Sorry, that was me. That was me. I didn't come down.
And as you can see, each of these instruments over here are some type of optical configuration. These ones are just cameras, actually. So there's two cameras here that probably got some kind of filtering on them to look at certain wavelengths of light. And what they're looking at is like auroral emissions or air glow emissions, some type of phenomena in the sky. They're using those cameras to make measurements for.
This is our scanning Doppler imager.
Yep, right here.
Dun dun dun.
Yep, they look bigger in photos.
That's all you see from the roof.
Is it recording right now? Hi.
Not right
The
now.
sun has to go about 6 degrees below the horizon
Yeah,
before
so we
it'll
still
start
got
to
some
work.
time.
Oh, okay.
That's why
Yep.
we're up here, because a lot of these optical instruments are taking data at night. So,
Which I use because I look at that all sky camera.
right,
and
and
I
Yes.
the
make
all
some
sky
videos and stuff.
is.
It's
One
one
of
of
those.
these. Yeah.
I don't know which
That
one.
is-
It's that one right there. Yeah.
That's the all sky
Yep.
right there.
That looks like it. It's an Alpha 7, so.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah, that's an Alpha 7. Absolutely. You can tell from a mile away.
But-
So each of these, are they dedicated to a different sort of data collection?
they're
all
doing
different
something unique. Yeah. We will use cameras together, but we won't use them like this arrangement. We'd have one here, one maybe 100 miles up into the towards Venati, if you know that location. Maybe one over at Tuluk Field Station by Adigan Pass. And we'll use those sometimes to co-locate, like the bobs that were launched from Christina Lynch's rocket. Was
Or
that last
TMA
year?
releases.
Or TMA releases. So when you look on a camera, you're seeing a two-dimensional image, but we need three-dimensional information. So what we've got to do is, if you remember your vector calculus, we've got to take angles from look directions that are different in order to reconstruct those three-dimensional velocities. And so we'll use different cameras, but they'll be spaced out like 100 miles or more apart. Yeah.
Look at all this other stuff down here.
Yep.
Oh,
And
there's-
we all
yeah,
have
quite a-
covers for our instruments too. So if you want to shut one down and cover it up, that's just a dome under there, but there's a cover on top.
Is there heating inside the domes as well? Are they warmer inside the domes?
Yeah.
It's temperature controlled inside the building to an extent.
So hot air arises, and they're connected to the inside, what you felt inside in the building. So it's about room temperature, but maybe just a little bit warmer. Some of them, like our SDIs, from time to time, will actually blow hot air onto the top of the dome to keep them clear.
Right now on this instrument, we have a fan blowing air up into that dome to try and keep it temperature controlled. We have a lot of issues when it's going from day to night, because that's the biggest temperature changes. So trying to keep it temperature controlled during that time is hard.
Is the tricky part.
Yeah.
Some locations, too, like our South Pole station, we don't have one dome. We actually have a dome inside a dome, and then we evacuate the air in between and put ultra-pure nitrogen in there as an effort to kind of block the temperature difference between the two.
Interesting.
So we'll try to remember to show you guys that at the South Pole. But these are big single domes, and that looks like some kind of cannon or something.
But it's not.
That's the Astrodome that used to be in there.
Oh, okay.
But that got tiresome of moving.
So they just put it over here. Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually looking at the HARP spot right now.
Oh.
So that if HARP was running and emitting air glow, it would be right over there somewhere. Wherever that's pointing.
That way.
Because I moved that.
Interesting how the research sites are all working together.
Yep. And so, yeah, that's a kind of a big theme here. I mean, HARP is a long ways away. It's more than 100 miles away. Right? It's 100 and something.
325 kilometers.
Yeah, okay, so 200 miles away, yeah. But this is a nice central location. We can go 200 miles south, we can go 200 miles north, and the science that we do is with such big phenomena that we can register these instruments at different sites to do better science with them. And so this roof here is the central location, the collaboration of all that. You can see all this different instrumentation here that we're going to use in conjunction with launching rockets and what we do are scanning Doppler imagers to really get a good idea of what's going on in the upper atmosphere.
The little storage covers over
Yep.
there, stacked up and ready
Lots
to
of
go.
covers ready to go.
And some weather stations.
Yep.
Weather instruments and stuff like that.
Yep.
Cool. For regular Earth weather, not
Yeah. For that low altitude stuff.
All right.
So I think we can head back inside now.
We can show you. So
pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice to come up here, and the mountains over that way too. Or
You ever just sneak out here? You got cards and keys and have a little picnic. Bring your lunch.
we
during your
do
lunch hour.
occasionally come out with other grad students to watch aurora.
Yeah.
It's just better out here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
What we're going to do now is you've seen the top of that SDI, but we can actually go down and get a look
in it.
into
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
See the other side.
All right. Okay, hold on, viewers. Whilst I go down the ladder. All right. No one fell.
At least not twice.
That's right. Yeah, you can hook yourselves back up. It's a nice team building. All right.
All right. Oh, yeah. Should we?
That's yours.
Yeah.
How long has PokerFlat been operating?
A long time.
Yeah.
They celebrated the 50 year.
Okay.
Recently, I think.
They had.
Rockets have been launching since
Yeah.
1958.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That sounds like a
So-
tour guide.
Yeah, so I actually have given tours here.
Yeah.
Rockets have been launching on this side. But it's also exciting that it's so strongly connected with the university that as a student you can come to a real, actual, functioning rocket range,
Yeah.
do real science here, and not just have to... But then you have to compete with the international funders who are coming here to do stuff too, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The range is pretty good about.
Hold it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
The range is really good about encouraging science with local university students, so they're really open to that. We probably can deep in again here.
Because we're going up?
Yep,
going
yep.
up again.
And I'm actually going to take this coat off so we got a little
It's really fun to work on these instruments because sometimes you have to do something up there, come down, go back up on the outside, and work on the roof, and then come back down and then go back up here, and so you're just up and down all day.
And I will give the disclaimer that
There's not much room.
this is
Okay.
this is kind of the one we use spare parts to keep running.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, well even that is going to be pretty cool to see.
I didn't bring my phone up. Do you have a light on your phone?
Yes, I do.
All right.
John.
So it's a little bit like one of those things, but it's on this side, and I'm going to climb up this ladder right now. Hi, Kylie. All right, here we go.
We're going to watch them fall. I mean, climb up there. Yeah.
There's these. You can take those parts.
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
You got the phone?
Yeah, that's not spooky at all.
Here, come into this dark room with us. Yeah.
All right.
So you're in the chamber where all the instruments are now, and so really quickly, this is not our SDI, but that array of imagers are all hanging down. These are and/or cameras. They're very, very sensitive. You could imagine them like a DSLR, but an order of magnitude more
Much
sensitive. Yeah.
I'm gonna crouch down. It is very warm in here, so it's not like it is not cold.
Yep.
Nope.
And that one over there on the corner, that's the all-sky for the GI. So if you go to allsky.gi.alaska.edu, that's the view you get right there.
From that right spot. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
And if it was turned on, we would have just been on it.
Yep.
Like watching a moose on one of those seismic cameras.
All right.
So that's just the preview.
Yep.
If we come this way,
And so again, I think you posted a photo of our SDI. It's got a nice cage that it sits in, and this is one of the earliest models we have running, and it actually just sits on a stand here.
right next to you.
Yep. So this is it. It's got a little bit of a enviro dust there too, and
keep it all.
literally duct tape to hold it together. But
well, I think that's what science really is built on, right?
yeah, oh yeah.
Duct
You
tape.
can never have too much duct tape.
Kylie's like, I want to see some data.
Yeah, well,
We can just,
it should
So
be
this
off.
is a
but-
lot like what you're going to be going down to Antarctica to look at it to
Yeah.
maintain.
So because this one is so close, and because it's the oldest, I think the oldest one we have.
it is.
It's kind of in a it's functionally we have the same instrument of this down in Antarctica, but the ones in Antarctica are very well put together. They're very minimal. They're designed to have minimal attention paid to them, whereas this one we
got duct tape right here.
yeah. So this one we have easy access to. So we
You want your worst parts at the place you can get to.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
know?
and this is the place we can get to.
And if you can maintain this and practice on this, then down there.
Yeah, exactly.
The funniest
Yeah.
thing is that this is one of our most stable.
Yeah, and it actually gives really good data.
They're really nice. Yeah.
Does it have a name? Do you have like a secret name?
No, we
for-
should.
Poker SDI.
Is
Okay.
it,
Yeah, but this one's been in operation since
I was gonna just do some fringes.
1995. I don't think it's plugged in, honestly.
Oh yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
So this
Secret
is our
data.
control.
Yep. So this is one of our running. This is what we look at when we're looking at a running instrument here. I was just gonna see.
To the laser.
Yeah, I was just gonna see where we are with respect to all that.
Did it move?
Laser.
Oh, isn't this the one where you need to flip the high voltage?
Yeah, we could.
There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, lots of moving parts. Too.
I still don't see what I want.
I don't
there.
think it drove anything.
Let's just drive it back. Yeah, I don't hear it moving.
No. This
Okay.
is the part when we find out our
Right, yeah.
instruments.
Yeah. Well, we can look at that offline. But
Well, I mean, that's the sort of thing that we wouldn't prepare. It's not something that
Yeah.
like we're going to sit up there and do. It's just you came up here, found the instrument. Now, if you weren't with me, you'd poke around. You'd
Yeah.
make it happen. You'd find the stuff that you wanted to do.
So, yeah, that's pretty typical. So, especially when we go out on a field mission, all we know is that we're not getting data. That's it. We don't know if the laser's lasing, if the Etalon's working, if the camera's working, if the computer just tried to do an update and failed or something. You know, we have no idea what's going on. We just know that data is not coming back anymore. So we'll, hop in a plane or hop in a, pickup or do whatever we need to do to get to wherever we need to go to find the instrument. And we show up with no idea. We got to wear a lot of different hats depending on what we find. That one actually I think is a pretty easy problem. I think it's just the motor's not driving for some reason.
I don't even think it's a problem because it was working yesterday.
Yeah. So
So I guess this is now the part. How stubborn are you to make it work now, and how willing are you
I mean, you
to
could give it a
step
go.
away and be like, you know what?
it might just be. It was. That would probably be it.
So it's kind of wondering, but it thinks it's in.
It's almost impossible for us not to just start
Right,
trying to fix it. Yeah.
I totally understand. And
But-
part of it is because you know in your mind what it's going to look like when you get to the end.
Yeah,
And so it's just troubleshooting along the way to get to that point, to get the data coming in.
exactly. Yep. Is the shutter open? The shutter might have been off.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, so you might check the camera.
Shutter is closed.
See?
I took the lights cap off. That's
So that you just go through a logical process, you know. There is no image. Well, if the camera is on, it looks like it's on. There's noise. Then there's got to be something in the way. Probably there you go. So
There we go. Now we have an image.
I'd bring it to Cal.
I think it's on Cal.
That's the sky view.
I'm aware of that.
Oh.
I'm just saying it thinks it's on the calibration.
Yeah.
But that's what the sky looks like now.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
so in essence, what we have is about a $300,000 camera. Really, like a really high-end camera, if you could think of it like that, with a very high-end filter on it. And so we can actually we can take that filtering and look up into the sky, and it looks somewhat like a regular camera. You can imagine that you've got like a DSLR and a red filter on your DSLR, and this is just the physics extreme of that, basically, with a little ability to change the way the filter works. But yeah, so there's an example right there. We're just kind of looking up at the sky.
Just looking up there.
And so this is it's an all sky lens, and so it views the entire sky. So what you're looking at is almost the entire sky from horizon to horizon up there. And then we'll break that up into segments and zones, and we'll make measurements of parts of that in different look directions. So
And what happens with that measurement? What do you do with that?
So those line of sight measurements going out in all directions up into the sky will then take multiple instruments. So we have 4 of these instruments in Alaska and 2 in Antarctica. And the ones in Alaska, at least, this is what I work on. We can take those line of sight measurements and we can geophysically invert them into wind fields over the state of Alaska in near real time. So I can, generally speaking, with a few minutes delay, I can tell you what the winds are doing over the state of Alaska on any given night.
So that's important for air travel. Which
well, we're quite a bit.
much
Yeah.
higher.
We're,
like when you say winds, it's not like, oh, it's a windy day outside.
No.
It's
yeah.
like
So
a windy day for the astronauts on the space
So
station.
air travel is up until 15 kilometers altitude. I think,
would be an
or less.
absolute peak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
10 is the number I would
anything
use. Yeah.
humans do is under 15 kilometers for sure. Our lowest measurements come from about 100 kilometers altitude,
So about
and our highest ones come from about 250 kilometers. The space station usually orbits around 380 kilometers.
So the
altitude.
lowest measurement we make is about 10 times as high as you've ever flown in a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And the highest measurement we make is kind of up by the International Space Station.
What's happening up there?
It's windy. Yeah.
Well, there's lots going on. So in that region, our lowest measurements, I said, come from 100. And that's kind of where the atmosphere is turning into space. So in that entire region, you have these transition between atmosphere winds to space winds. And you kind of want to know what's going on, you know? And then if the aurora's active, then that all changes and messes with that, so...
Yeah, so our atmosphere is constantly under the influence of factors outside of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun is constantly interacting with the Earth, and how it does is important. It's going to deposit energy. It's going to cause currents and tides up in the upper atmosphere, and those are going to be large depositions of energy, and they're going to affect things for us that we're trying to do on Earth. And so our ability to measure the winds will give us some insight about the momentum and energy that's occurring in that atmosphere. We measure what's called the neutral atmosphere, so we don't look at charged particles, but there are other researchers at the University of Alaska, Fairbanks, that are looking at the charged particles up in the upper atmosphere. And the interaction between the two really tells us a lot about what's going on in the upper atmosphere. And so we're one part of a larger picture that's going on up there in measuring the energetics and dynamics of the upper atmosphere.
And it affects anything from radio signals to satellite orbits, and you just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I want my internet, and that's dependent. That's dependent on a lot of the work that's happening up there.
But yeah, this is so. So this is you've got a first-hand view here of our instrument.
So if this was a normal workday for you, let's say in Antarctica, what would you do now? You came in, checked it out, it's all working.
So
you get some data going. Now it's time for dinner.
Well, it's still we
would
still
definitely go through a lot of testing. We do a lot of focusing on our cameras as well every year. That's one of our main jobs anytime we go to a site.
So if you could turn the light on the camera, on your phone, sorry, and we might be able to, so if you look up, if you look up in here, so here is our camera. For anyone that's kind of used a DSLR or even the camera on your phone, this is what our camera looks like. We connect that to a lens here. This is usually a 300 or 400 millimeter, like a sports lens, like one you could buy from Nikon. And then we'll focus that. That's focusing, our Etalon, which is this big tube here. And that's like a filter. So if anyone's ever used like a cool filter on their camera, like a circular polarizing filter is a little different than this, but this is like a red filter or a green filter or an infrared filter maybe. That's our filter in our camera. And so what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that all those components are not only in good working order, but they're going to stay that way because we can't go to Antarctica again for another year. So we'll test all that equipment. We'll run it through every test we get. We're going to try to break it basically in the kindest way possible. And then if we don't find any problems, then we'll go through and we'll calibrate this. This is an optical path, so everything needs to be aligned perfectly. And in these remote places, you'll see dramatic temperature changes, which is going to expand and contract the components of this. You're going to see large winds. You're just going to
shake the building.
It'll shake the build. In fact, one of our Etalons got shook a little too much and almost fell out of the instrument. Which it's just a couple pieces of glass, so you don't want it to fall out. But we'll go through. We'll make sure that everything is in working order, and then
you heard there's moving parts, and some of what we do is we just run it through exercises. So we'll say drive it to the sky, drive it to the calibration, and go back and forth. Our filter wheels, we circle them.
So in addition to that really precise filter I was just talking about, we have like a first pass. So we want to look at, let's say, the color red. Most people can say, okay, I got a picture of red in my mind. Well, this instrument is going to look at millions and millions of shades of red. And the way that it's going to do that is with a very precise tunable filter. But the way that filter works, we need to first give it like a first pass of blocking everything that's like obviously not red. Something that's green needs to not go through our system. Something that's blue needs to not go through our system. So at the very top of this instrument, we have our first pass filter, which is one you can just buy from it's still a little specialized, but you can just buy it from an optics store. And that's going to get rid of all light that's not red. And then once we continue down our optical train, then we're going to get really picky. We're going to say, is this the 147th millionth shade of red, or is this the 147 millionth one shade of red? And we're going to start to really look at that to measure the optical Doppler shift. So we need to make sure that first pass is correct, because we also look at green light. So we need to only let the broad green light in and not let red or blue in. And so that's a physical filter that we spin around on a disc. And if that doesn't work, the show is kind of over. So
it's got to start from that base level.
Yeah.
Before you can get really specific.
The filter itself is probably never going to go bad. It's just it's a piece of glass, But the moving of it has proved to be quite tricky to maintain autonomously for years on end. And in fact, when we go down to the South Pole, we got to do a little.
That's one of our jobs.
Yeah, our filter wheel is acting up again, and I will.
Oh, that filter wheel!
Yeah,
just bang on it.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to. But
well, I think it is amazing that humanity has gotten to the point where we can study the workings of the atmosphere so high above where we live normally to help understand how that affects our lives every single day. And that it is not something that once you know what it's done, it's a constant maintaining that equipment to make sure that we can keep learning and keep understanding.
And it's very importantly is, we're one very small piece of this picture. There's hundreds of projects and thousands of projects that are humanity's best effort to understand the universe we live in, and we're contributing our small bit. We're doing the best that we can, but it really takes hundreds and thousands of people doing the tough stuff, the keeping the stuff up and running for decades.
And the researchers that said, okay, how do we get to this level of red? What do we have to do to make sure that we can measure this? And that was experiments decades ago.
Yeah, that's
to get to the point you could build an instrument like this.
Yeah, so the principle that we use is called Fabric Pro interferometry, and anyone that maybe is interested in kind of the history of how we got here, that's a good thing to check out. Yeah.
And then people will be using the stuff that you're learning now in the next generation, in the future.
So part of my thesis,
like when they go to Mars.
Yeah. So this technology is generally applicable. Measuring this optical Doppler shift, we don't have to just do it for these phenomena that we're looking at. We can put those different filters on, and we can filter different wavelengths, and we can do it in different regimes. The technology that we've built here can be applied to all sorts of different different fields, not even related to space weather. So the future will have a lot of this in it, and it'll be for lots of broad different applications, which will be quite cool. And even just what we're doing, how I was talking about, we have many look directions. That's actually a newer thing that's kind of originated here at the GI. Typically, these instruments look in one direction at a time.
And there's actually one of those on the other side of the building.
Yeah, we could, yeah. But this one's able to look in 100 to 200, maybe 300 if we really pushed it, different directions at one time. And then we have 4 of those overlapping with each other. So whereas classically people would have 2 or 3 of these instruments looking in 2 or 3 directions at a time, we're talking about hundreds of different look directions, and we're starting to get spatial resolutions over Alaska that just no one else on Earth has the ability to do. And that really is the future of this field, particularly. I don't only believe that because I'm writing my thesis on that.
Your career kind of depends on that.
Yeah. But the small-scale features, seeing what's happening in our upper atmosphere on these really small scales is new. It's not been done before, and we're doing it here. You're standing next to one of the 4 machines that I'm using to do that.
In the whole world.
Yeah. I mean, there's 6. Yeah, there's 6.
That is really exciting. I mean, that's a fun thing. It's just fun. It's cool. It's intellectually stimulating, and you're helping out your species.
Yeah, and we get cool.
Thanks, you guys.
We get cool opportunities
I don't think I've ever been told that before.
Yeah, I think you are the first person for me as well. Yeah.
Well, I'll speak for the rest of humanity.
I mostly just get yelled that I'm a nerd or something, but yeah.
Well, you are too. But
yeah,
that's
okay.
right. The best people in the world are.
Yeah, I take that as a compliment.
As you should. As you should.
Like, well, thank you. And they're like, oh, it was an insult. But, okay.
All right, let's get out of this.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna unplug so we can go downstairs. Okay.
We do have to go down a ladder.
We do have to go down a ladder.
There you go.
We'll go down first. All right. Goodbye, machine that has no name yet. Can you give it a cool space name or something? All right. Well, here's a view from up here. I'm going to not fall, so I'll turn around backwards.
Yep, backwards. That's the OSHA-approved way
that
to
would be the
ladder.
Don't slide down the things.
Well, we're not that restricted.
And a big fan. And there's instruments up across all through here.
Yeah, all of these rooms house the instruments that you saw the tops of up there. So each one of these has a dome, and we were looking at those domes up on the top story.
And each one has a little maintenance area in there where you can go and.
Yeah, that's where the researcher is going to put the brains of their operation. They're going to put their computers. They're going to put maybe their spare parts or any kind of special power considerations they might have. That's all going to go in that room. That room is going to get blocked off so it's dark in there. Even when the lights are off in here, that's not dark enough. We need the lights off in here, and then we need no photons.
We need a zero photon room.
So
is that even possible?
I mean, we could probably figure something close out.
All right, cool. Did you want to mic up just so we can say goodbye? I guess we've seen the...
Goodbye. Oh, no.
We got tingles.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
That's a good movie. Have you seen that movie?
Where are we going?
You bring that to Antarctica with you? Have you watched The Thing yet? That's what people really
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Oh, I have not. No.
Okay.
Well, we can watch it in Antarctica.
Yeah, don't watch it in Antarctica.
Oh, no.
Don't watch that. Okay, maybe.
Is it?
It's about Antarctica.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Wait.
It's like a classic horror movie.
Is The Thing is different than It? I'm just realizing
Yes,
that.
The Thing is
Okay,
different
yeah,
than It.
yeah. I was just thinking of simple words with
No.
I and T in them.
We'll talk about more about that. When do you guys leave?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Sunday.
Yeah.
We're actually going to be traveling too with some of our AGU
With a lot of our friends.
so,
Yeah, my flight to AGU is on Saturday night at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
So
so
that
we'll
might
be
not
5
be-
hours later.
Yeah, but you guys are going a different way.
I think there's a.
Well, I think we're all going to Seattle. Are you going to Seattle?
Seattle
yeah.
first and then, yeah.
So
I think
we'll,
there's like 4 of us going to Seattle, so I'm going and picking them all up, and then we're taking a taxi from my house. And
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Well, I'll email you because you guys are in Christchurch for how long? You don't know.
2 days. at
11th
least.
to the 13th is what we're
But
planning.
that's
But
Christchurch time.
yeah. Oh yeah,
So-
yeah.
So we might be able to, because I have some, can do some Facebook Live remotely, maybe able to catch up right before you head out.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then we'll look
definitely.
for all your content and stuff that you'll be uploading as you go on throughout your time down there.
Yeah, we'll try to keep
it up.
Keep it up. Yeah.
I know you have the public is waiting with bated breath. In fact, Mercedes Devaney says, "Best of luck on your adventures, guys. Can't wait to see all the posts from this year's adventure."
Woohoo!
And then LJ Evans says, "Hey John, you're gonna miss AGU."
Oh.
But you're gonna be doing like real science, not just talking about it.
Yeah,
Well,
That's something.
Mark will be at AGU
Yeah,
presenting some pretty cool new simulations he's got going on. So
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice. That's a nice talk up
Yeah.
for his stuff. Okay, thank you guys very much.
cool. Thank you.
And we'll talk to you over the next week or so, and then we'll see all your stuff from the South Pole. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.